Hey everyone, welcome to Was That in Good Taste presents The Tasting Table, and we got an awesome episode up for you today where we're reviewing Empress 1908 Elderflower and Rose Gin. It's a new variation on one of our favorite gins, and it's a gin kind of spring, so we're getting into it, and we're just gonna talk about initially what we're drinking and then give our open, honest review of this fantastic new gin that has hit the markets. It was started circulating 2023, so just last year, and we finally got our hands on a bottle of it just this past few months. And I gotta say, from what I've tried of it so far, um, I'm open to interpretations. Um, we have with us, we thought that the best variation or the enhancement on a gin, though typically we would do a gin and tonic, we decided to go with a gin gimlet. Also, I think I just blew right past. I'm Chandler Phillips, and with me, as always, is another one of your gracious hosts.
I'm James Beery. Oh man, I'm actually really excited to talk about this mainly because, we talked about before. We absolutely love the Empress gin, which is, of course, we featured it many times. It has as a featured botanical the butterfly pea blossom, which when it reacts with citric acid or some sort of acidity, changes its color from a deep purple to actually a color similar to this
Like a
gin.
fuchsia.
Yeah, it's like a fuchsia. It's pretty red. It's nice. It's delicate, and it's a little sweet. It's a good gin. So of course, when we saw this, we thought, come on, we absolutely have to give this a try.
We gotta try it out
We cracked it open. We took a sip, and now we're in front of you again with the gimlet.
with the gimlet. Now, the gimlet dates back. It's one of those like old timey kind of original style cocktails. It's in the same vein as a daiquiri or a margarita or even really just a whiskey sour. It follows that basic template of two parts strong, one part sweet, and then one part sour. So the typical gimlet is gin, lime, simple syrup. Easy peasy, easy as that. What was interesting in some of the brief research that I did for it is because those ingredients got kind of difficult to store over long periods of time. Also, this is one of those like old like British naval gins, um, or British naval type things where they use a lot of citrus and stuff, not just because it kind of helps with the taste of things, but also because it would just help stave off the scurvy. It was part of their regular
And,
rations.
and the acidity, of course, allows for a preserving environment.
hmm And so not only was the spirit able to help preserve stuff, the acidity kept for a lot longer. You could keep limes on a ship without them going bad a lot longer. But was eventually developed by like the 40s, 50s. It was a very popular drink, but it was known with to be a easy peasy mix of 50% gin, 50% roses lime juice cordial,
Mm.
which we see that today. Like
Yeah.
usually they got grenadine, they got simple syrup, and then they have the true blue roses lime juice.
Which is literally just lime juice, simple syrup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that's kind of what it breaks down to. But it's almost kind of been codified as like because that's been around for and this has been so heavily associated with it
Mm.
that there are some traditionalists who would say like, well, traditionally a gimlet is with roses lime, and then the purist would be like, yes, but the essence and um, the brevity of the drink comes from the fact that it's the limes macerated with the sugar.
Okay, and then I'll say if you have a simple syrup, if you have some lime juice, and you have some gin, you could simply put 2 ounces of gin, a half an ounce of lime juice, a half an ounce of simple syrup, and you have the same thing.
Yeah, that's it.
You have absolutely the same thing. And I think that this is, gosh dang, delectable. He hasn't had it yet. So here's the thing: when we first had a sip of this gin, I think that we both liked how it tasted up front, but we both found ourselves falling to its floralness. It's very rose heavy. It's very floral.
It's super
It's
floral. So
very strong in the floritic, the flower
It's a
red.
bouquet
It's a
of,
it's a true bouquet.
and it's very well. It's not so overwhelmingly aromatic, but it does have a whole lot of that like deep petal kind of floral flavor. It's not so much as like grassy or nectary as we expected. It's kind of hard to stray away from using floral so much, but
But it's also but there's a reason. It's floral, but it's not perfumey.
yeah,
It's not perfumey.
because we've had a perfumey gin before.
Yeah, this tastes as if they actually probably like they're like the red in this is from the roses, which it's very likely that it is.
Well, so I want to talk real briefly
Okay,
on
educate.
the initial Indigo Empress 1908 that we're familiar
Mhm.
with. The
Which is
major
that's from a hotel, right?
It's named after the Victoria Hotel in British Columbia of Canada. That's the most southwestern province of Canada. It shares the border with Washington, Idaho, Montana. That's where that is. This is so it's named after its initial home offices in Victoria, British Columbia, which is on the island of Vancouver. So it's very beautiful, known for their near year long blooms
Mm-hmm.
of flowers, and the initial blend of botanicals was one that was inspired by a tea blend from a specific hotel in this place that had black tea, juniper berries, of course,
Mm-hmm.
the butterfly pea blossom, which gave it that really illustrious color. And not only does it change with acidity, it also, if you go in the other direction and add more basic things like cucumber or more
Mm-hmm.
alkaline,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a deeper, almost kind of teal, like something more in the blue realm. It has less red, more blue.
We need to now we need to revisit that. I didn't realize that it's the pH was particularly very sensitive in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have to revisit that. If
It,
you want, make sure you like and comment.
what I thought was super interesting, just going back and going over that, the Indigo Empress also has grapefruit peel as its citrus peel or citrus influence, whereas a lot of other places will use citrons or orange peel, navel orange, etc. And it has ultimate or at the end rose petals as well. Some of the key differences in this one is, which I wasn't thinking of, I didn't consider, this does not have any of the
No.
purple butterfly pea shoot blossoms at all. And so I was a little disappointed when I saw that the gimlet was essentially the same color as the gin, which like it's a beautiful color. It's a very ornate and decadent look that can really add a touch of sophistication to an otherwise kind of clear hazy cocktail. Um and it also doesn't have that tea blend.
Mm.
It doesn't use a tea blend, but it does have a variety of other floral arrangements. And so when we talk about how this is a bouquet of flowers in a gin, it truly is. It has rose petals, elderflower, lavender. They opt for the orange peel instead of grapefruit peel in this one, and I think that's kind of necessary because it doesn't have the sweetness that the other herbs kind of provided in the indigo. Instead, this one, it's definitely opting for like we're gonna hit you with aromas, and then the flavors will have the juniper, a little bit more palatable orange, but what it actually gets its color from may surprise you.
And what?
Click the link to find out. It's it's black carrot.
Okay. That makes okay. I get it because they needed to use something to dye it with.
But I do think it's very interesting that you use tube vegetables as a botanical. I think it's just kind of interesting. Like I would be interested to see what other types of gins would be willing to kind of explore that realm. Like would you put parsnips in a gin? I don't know But to add that kind of depth of earthiness, I thought like, whoa, that's kind of cool.
Wow. Honestly, I'm not even joking. Now that you've illuminated me as to what's in it, it's so I drank my gimlet already. I liked it. I think it's delicious. I think that it provides a beautiful base for this, but I needed to taste it straight up again. I'm tasting lavender.
You're getting the
I'm
lavender.
getting the lavender a lot. I
I
think
find
that's what it is. I think the rose and the lavender are kind of creating this powerful floral bouquet, like just up front,
Mhm.
right? You know,
It's all in the nose.
yeah, this is it's a deeper compared to compared to the gimlet.
I do think it's interesting though that lavender does tend to kind of dominate the things it's in aromatically. Uh, I've had to cook lemon lavender bars or lemon lavender cookies,
Mhm.
and I find that although lemon can also be a very dominating taste and stuff, the lavender was always what kind of took precedent. And it's like, boom, the lavender is here first, and then all of the other flavors are kind of just follow up.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I don't
I think it
quite
was
know.
used because it has a strong floral taste, and I think that rose petals are actually more intense than lavender if you put too much rose in it. So I think the use of the lavender is meant to counter with the rose. It also gives a little complexity. Obviously, the citrus is there, and that's kind of like on the end. You can tell that it's different. I love me some gins. You
What do you
can.
think of that elderflower though? Because we've had elderflower gins before, when we had the blue coat elderflower, and I thought that was almost like a honeysuckle kind of vibe. Like it added this whole new dimension of like sweetness that I wasn't expecting.
I think what I run into the issue is I haven't had an elderberry in a long time. I haven't smelled an
Yeah.
elderflower in over a decade,
And
right?
it's been but a decade since I've had my
Since
last
I've
elder.
had my nose inside of an elderflower, it's been over a decade.
I tell
And
you,
then,
not since the war.
not since the war. Anyway, so h- uh, you know, I'm having a hard time distinguishing what the taste of elderflower is. I know what it tastes like inside of Fever Tree or inside of a gin, but I'm having a hard time discerning exactly what that is here because what if elderflower has a bitter element? You know,
It could.
I I,
Maybe it
I, d-
does.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's been
Because I don't know her well enough to make that kind of
I just don't know
judgment
her. I
call.
just don't know her well enough. However, what I will say is, despite that, despite the what I would, despite the what I would say is a almost overly floral nature, not all gins are meant to be drank straight up. One of my favorite things about a gin, and you know this, an American dry, a London dry, a slow gin, something floral. I like my gins and tonics and gimlets straight up as well. You know what I mean?
He drinks his Jenny.
This is meant to be in a cocktail, a
Yeah.
beautiful cocktail, sitting in front of you and your partner inside of like a nice hotel, not drank straight out of the glass. I think that this is one of those instances where I am a big gin out of a glass, straight up guy, maybe put some ice, some ice. If you walk into my bar and you go, huh, can I get the rose and elderflower Empress neat? I'm gonna look at you because I don't think you know what you're doing. Because if you've had this, it's kind of obvious that it's not bad. It's very good in cocktails. I have had it in a gin and tonic because I had to try it. I had to have some to understand because we tried it straight up and I liked it at first, but then as you drink it, the the floral nature compounds. It
Yeah.
builds and it becomes almost overwhelming.
It's almost like a spiritual diametrically opposed to scotch, where if like scotch has like that compounding peat smoke,
Mhm.
that's kind of representative of like death and rebirth. This is the floral. Like
It's the plant matter.
I'm thinking in like a Fantasia
No,
kind of way.
but for real, it's the plant
Yeah.
matter.
Like that's the dead
Magic.
zone. And then this is like the fertile stuff. This is the bloom, the blossom, the regrowth. This is the
Ooh, like I could see Pete. The Pete, like it's like it's
I'm
more. It's this dark and dim,
almost
and,
like a peat monster.
yeah,
Kind of just
wow, that's
crawling
yeah.
its way. And then you have the Empress. The Empress of the Forest. Save us. We've lost our homes to the peat monster. Instead, we need the floral return of the rose and elderflower Empress. Please save us from our strife.
I need it. Mine. It's mine. Okay, I'm done. Can I screw it to them? Okay. Okay.
No.
Can I say? And I'm like, am I not bugging out? I think that this is great in this.
I think as a gin goes, this is a fantastic gin. Not as much character. Like it's sorry, that's not the right word. It's not as like in your face with the botanicals as I'd expect, but I think it lets its look do the talking more than it does the tasting. And it's not an offensive, like it's not overly strong. And I say this in comparison to some of our other favorites of like, classic Seagrams when you, you got a blue coat.
You know it, blue coat.
We we like
'Cause it's
Drumshambo.
Oh,
like
I love Drumshambo.
I recently got a bottle of Perry Tott's Navy Strength from the New York Distilling Company.
I'm trying to go to your house this weekend.
That one got me twisted a little bit. I was doing French 75s with that, and
Okay, I'm coming over. I don't come over enough. Jesus. It's so funny because gin is such a versatile liquor. It's whenever people go to me, like I have a friend, Michaela. Michaela, you're absolutely awesome. We were talking, we were doing a little chat, and I was like, yo, you saying you don't like gin, let me give you some suggestions.
That's because you haven't found the right one yet, honey.
I think that most people go, they want to try gin. They go to a bar, they go, hey, bartender, I want to try gin. I've never had gin before. And the bartender goes, oh, yeah, that's cool. You should have a gin and tonic. And then they pour some flat, Canada Dry, some flat Seagrams, or some flat
or worse, it's out of the fucking hose.
Oh God!
When tonic out of the gun is
it's so nasty, and it's like flat,
stomach churning.
And then so now you have this, this experience. And I remember I was with my ex in like 2014, and we were over on 8th Street, and we were going to like some underground kind of like play, and I had no money. I remember going there. And she got a gin and tonic, and I said, I've never had one before. I think I'd had one, but I didn't like it. I think it was a long time ago. I was like, can I please have a sip? And it was the most delicious thing I'd ever had in my life. It was so good. Mm-hmm. It was so delicious.
That's how it gets
and good fresh tonic with the bubbles still popping, that can work. If that doesn't work for you, taking for any liquor, simple syrup and the liquor. One. Simple syrup, lime or lemon, and the liquor.
Or citrus. Any sort of citrus.
Any citrus. Orange juice.
I would suggest when it comes to whiskeys, do orange bitters over orange juice.
But that's a drink though.
But that's a drink.
And it's good.
Or you do what's a whiskey Cosmo? Those are or a whiskey sour.
Oh,
whiskey sours are pretty.
I'm a big fan of a whiskey sour.
Love a whiskey sour.
When it comes to picking like your gin, I think I don't know if you agree with me or not. The more interesting the gin, that's why it's nice to have multiple gins. Mm-hmm. If you want just a gin and tonic and you just don't want to risk it, Blue Coat or Seagrams, in my opinion. Blue Coat, overproof, a little more boozier. It's really up there with the juniper. I like that a lot.
And it's so drinkable. Like, it's just so palatable.
It is very palatable. Seagrams, much sweeter, but that makes it goes in anything.
Beefeater's not bad also.
I like Beefeater.
Beefeater's like, it's up there. If I was at a party and there was a bottle of Beefeater, and that was like the thing that was and I would be like, oh fuck yeah, we got.
Have you had the Hendrix floral seasonal?
They have one that's one
The
one,
Moray, that's the new one.
and then they
They
got
had the Luna, and they had
the
the
Neptune,
Neptune.
but they had another one that's called Grand Cabaret or Cabernet.
I remember that one had the flat. They had the little flowers on it.
Yeah, and then there was the Midsummer or like
Oh yeah, that one. The midsummer. Yeah, I remember that.
and then of course my favorite is the Orbium.
I okay. What a flashback!
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
be honest,
god.
Hendrix is kind of doing the most in the gin department, and it's like, guys, I get that you've kind of cornered the mark. Hendrix is the Tito's of gin. If Hendrix is the Tito's of gin, and Jim Beam is the Tito's of bourbon, no, I don't. Never mind. Jim Beam isn't the Tito's of bourbon. I kind of got lost in my own metaphor.
You know what I'm not lost in?
The
This
sauce.
bottle.
But I think Espolón is also kind of become like the Hendrix of tequila.
I think yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Because I think Espolón has this characteristic where it's weird. Okay, because when you go to a bar and you ask for gin and tonic, not well, but you're not trying to spend no money. You're like, oh, can I just have like a gin and tonic, but like not well? Just give me anything. Then you're probably gonna get a. It's either depending on the bar, Beefeater,
Or Hendrix.
mostly Hendrix though, because I feel like Beefeater used to be much bigger in bars.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Hendrix, especially because Hendrix has the seasonals, and maybe it's that the their reps are like just doing a really good job. Because when you
doing
go to a
great.
bar, you will see the seasonal Hendrix sometimes.
Yeah.
You'll see that. You don't often see that when it comes to the other gins.
I do think it's interesting how with gins specifically, more so than like a vodka or whiskey even, the more ornate the bottle, you actually like the prettier the gin looks, there's actually a pretty good correlation to how good that gin is.
Oh, 100%.
Like I think in a lot of other spirits and like even wines and stuff, they'll go all in on like a pretty bottle, and then you're like, okay, but like we know Tequila Ocho,
Of course. Oh, yeah.
fantastic tequila, kind of nondescript bottle. It's like, oh, it's got a label and like a blue ribbon around it. Whereas like other tequila, like the Casamigos, like, has
Absolutely.
a little overhyped because it looks so like authentic.
And then, you know, Empress is interesting because with them, they're using the color of the gin
They
in contrast with this ribbon.
they let the gin do the talking.
It seems like strange to critique another brand for having a simple, just like a ribbon. But the truth is, they do that because the color is so distinct that it works with the labeling. And so it is talking. Whereas I think a lot of the other, like especially tequilas, they're shaped real interesting, but
Yeah.
they're all opaque.
Or
You
like,
can't see the product.
looking at you, Don Julio.
You can't see the product. And that seems silly. But like if you have a product to show off,
Then
That-
why not?
then why not show it off? And I understand that when you're in a market where there are lots of people who are doing what you do at a high level, maybe not as good as you, but you're doing it at a high level, then in order to get that distinction, you need to set yourself apart. Empress does that in many ways because I know people who don't like fancy liquor and they go, "Oh, I once had a gin or I once had a drink and it turned colors." Because this is fun, it's simple, and if you have a bar or a restaurant, see, I'm doing it. Maybe Empress will sponsor or something. If you have a bar or restaurant, if I had a bar or restaurant, Empress, and you're seeing it in bars.
And
I-
restaurants.
I'm seeing it in bars and restaurants.
You know, the first time I saw Empress was actually at a gala, like a fundraiser kind of deal that I was doing with a public relations. It was a work gig. It was a work thing. I was basically doing event staff stuff, but I got to drink I got a cocktail ticket. and someone made me a gin and tonic, and I said, "Whoa, that was purple. Now it's pink. What happened?" And they're like, "It's just like that." And I was like blown away.
Wow.
So I think when it comes to as a gin, if I'm grading this on its own, it's like 8 out of 10. If I'm grading it in relation to the indigo one,
Okay,
I think it fell short of expectations because their indigo version
we should come back with another cocktail.
is so neat.
We have to come back with another
though.
cocktail because I absolutely think that what we're getting from this can absolutely find its place in a different kind of cocktail. For example, a tropical cocktail, a sweet tropical cocktail, you could add a floral note. You know, you imagine how good it tasted. We say this is like an old fashioned, but it has lime in it. I think that actually taking this with some simple syrup and actually maybe some bitters, you might get something from this because the sweetness is all that's missing from this.
I think I know what we got to do.
What's that?
I think we got to take a little bit of this and then a little bit of a limoncello and then a soda. Or like
I like
either
that.
kind of remix on a French 75. But I think the beautiful thing about this is it does have beautiful coloration and you want to highlight that. And granted, it might not do that whole like, oh, if now you see me, now you don't, that the indigo version did. It is stunning and it is a pretty liquid.
I keep drinking it because it's pretty to look at.
And if you have that in a cocktail, you don't want to do too much to cover it up, like if you would in a tropical drink and you got like a bunch of different juices.
But yet, I will say that I know it looks pretty, but I think, and I have not had every gin. I'm pretty sure if you know of a gin that's as floral, you let me know because I like gin, and so because of that, I've had a lot of gin,
A lot of gins.
and a lot of gins aren't as floral as this, and you can look at them and tell because once you get the experience of gins, you can look at them and you can see you're
What's
not.
the one? Grapesmith? Not yeah.
Oh yeah, the grape. Oh, I need that next.
The slow gin or the regular?
The regular. I like that guy. I like the slow gin
Yeah.
too because that was like the one that got me. I don't know. There are definitely some gins that have rose that I've had, but they've been clear
Mm-hmm.
and they're really rosy. I've never had a bouquet like this, so I think I'm going to make a cocktail right now.
Right now?
Right now, I'm gonna let you know. So I think gin, this gin, a little simple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, 1.75 ounces of this, half an ounce of Galliano,
Okay.
half an ounce of simple syrup, because this is very floral. I kind of want to elevate it and kind of make it a little sweeter, kind of give it something to float on.
Yeah.
On ice, and this is simple. This seems so strange. Okay, with some club soda
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and garnished with, I think, a singular piece of fresh fruit,
Ooh.
but not pineapple. Maybe like a pear ring
Okay.
or a peach. Something, because what I think happens with flowers is people forget that flower flesh is just concentrated flavor.
Yeah.
You understand? It's concentrated flavor.
Love
So
flower
it's all
flesh.
about taking the flower and allowing it to work into the fruit. So what you want to do is you want to take the flower and you want, like, let's say a fresh peach ring,
Yeah.
right? You just leave that on top. You're going to get the nose of the peach, right? But it's going to be not really flavorful, which is fine. That's actually what you want because you'll just get the simple syrup with the Galliano, a little bit of vanilla,
I follow.
and
I
then
follow.
the floral flavor. You don't believe me, but I'm going to make it. We're going to have it.
I'm gonna pitch you one that I think this would excel in. So, as you know, Starbucks green tea lemonade.
I don't acknowledge that place. But I've had green tea lemonade before, yes.
A green tea lemonade is my mom's like
Yeah.
go to.
If you ever want to make, you make
like a
iced tea, you take 5 bags of Lipton. You put it inside of 16 ounces of water. You let it sit for 20 minutes. You strain it. Then you add 2/3 more water. Then pour half of that, half lemonade with a little sip of syrup. Starbucks lemonade.
So I think that with, and I want to say, like you take leaves of some sort of herb and just kind of slap, like rough them up a little bit, like, psh, 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 and maybe like mint and tarragon.
I was going to say mint because you said it. I felt like mint.
Yeah, well, mint's the obvious one, but I think tarragon would add like a certain depth and dimension. Because what I really appreciate and what I think is neat is the carrot aspect, and I know it's not like radiating carrot.
No, you're right.
But
carrot juice.
Carrot juice.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot because it has like herbal, earthy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a really good. Because I was trying to figure out something like to really. I like that.
I think having some sort of root vegetable in a gin, super interesting, super neat. I think I want to maybe see what's out there by the way of like turnip or like we've seen beets used in.
I mean,
in stuff.
everything.
Beets are in everything. You can't stop the beets.
You can't stop the beats.
And it's a big flavor. It could also have color dyeing applications. I think that would be an interesting direction for Empress to go with maybe their next iteration, something that has kind of like how St. George has their regular gin, their Botanivar, and then their terroir. This could be their Botanivar, and then they do something that has like a more like depth, like a sage and like almost you could do like a sage sweet potato kind of deal with your like sweet sage, sweet potato, cardamom, coriander.
Ooh.
And like,
coriander.
and then have that with your juniper and maybe a citrus. Like probably I would do like a not a citron, maybe like a Buddha's hand citron.
You know what this sounds like?
What?
It sounds like if you want to see any of these, you should let us know. Because
let us know.
guess what? Gin is just a grain liquor with stuff soaked in it.
But it has to have juniper.
And juniper.
And juniper.
And I'm just saying, any combination of gin, I think could be made.
Well, we are kind of sitting on a couple little clear spirits. Like when we tried the Blue Flame. And we also both have like a good amount of juniper berries that we're just kind of hanging on to.
I wonder what could happen with that. Let us know in the comment section below. What would you rate this?
I'm going to give it 9 roses.
Oh.
But out of a first Bachelor episode. So I think there's 12 roses available on the first Bachelor episode.
That's good, though. That's still good. That's very, very good.
9 out of 12.
That's very, very good. Oh, I love a 9 out of 12. Since we're doing out of 12 scale, I'm gonna give it a 9.2 out of 12.
A 9.2.
The point 2 is because I think that we're enjoying it the same, but I think I'm seeing a little bit more of a real future for this guy.
And what kind of future do you see? Oh my God. There are 32 people on the.
Okay, let's say it's 12.
Wow. Okay, I thought that was a lot more than I was expecting. That's crazy.
So since this is the first new version of the tasting table, I thought it'd be really fun to end this episode with a toast.
A toast to the taste.
And I think it'd be maybe this is how we always do it, because the best thing about sitting at the tasting table is the fucking tasting.
It's all about the tasting, baby.
It's all about the tasting, baby. If you liked any of what you saw today, please let us know in the comment section. If you have any opinions, we want to hear it because it's absolutely important to us. And, you know, I cannot with you if you want to engage with us directly. Probably the best place until it's banned will be tiktok.com/was that in good taste or facebook.com/was that in good taste or gmail.com was that in good taste at gmail.com.
Okay,
that one's harder to do. That one's hard. Gmail.com at
was that in good taste
Was
at
that in good
gmail.com. That'd be kind of hot though if you had a Gmail that was like gmail.com at and then your thing and then at gmail.com. So it's kind of like sandwiched in there.
What about you, Chandler? Where can we find you?
You can find me at Chandler Does Jokes on most all platforms.
You know what? You can find me at living_dad_joke at all platforms, except for Twitter, which I'm still What Funny Friend.
What?
But I have a community there actually, and I don't want to change my name too much. You know what? We need to come up with a thing for the tasting table specifically.
I think that's the thing is just when it comes to tasting, welcome to the tables.
Oh, when it comes to tasting, welcome to the tasting table. Remember, it's fun to do it with friends. Peace.